right? And so Brandovate's a media company. It's one of the reasons you have a podcast here, right? So the reason I believe you're full of shit is that every single year you talk about it.
I know.
Every single year you talk about it.
Some people call me the space cowboy. Some call me the gangster of love.
Nice.
Some people just call me Maurice. But you can call me Bill Petrie, and I'm one of your hosts as we drop episode number 76 of the Upfront podcast. I am here with my good friend, the other co-host of this fine broadcast, the patron of Promo Connect, the Vice Admiral of Very Perry, the one and only Kirby Hassman. Kirby, how are you?
You know what? I'm doing really well, man. The year is starting to wind down, and it's so funny. It's sort of sneaking up on me. People keep saying that, the Christmas holiday is going to be, next week or whenever it is. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. I'm not ready for that at all. But that means I've been really busy and generally that's good this time of year. So things are going well. How about you?
Things are great. Thank you for asking. I'm like you, my in-laws will be, some would call it visiting. Some would call it invading. They're coming to visit for Christmas, and I'm looking forward to seeing them. So it'll be a really good time. Have really kind of just ready to chill for a little bit. Yeah, it's been so hectic, but that's a good thing. And I'm ready to kind of just walk away from just like the supply chain challenges and all that, because we're all impacted by that, just Christmas shopping and everything. But we talk a lot about those supply chain challenges, Kirby, and all of the things that it presents. In fact, what would you say the most popular promotional product is today?
The one that's in stock.
Boom, the one that's available. That's right, Kirby. You answered it correctly. The promotional product that's in stock. Well, that's where our friends over at Blue Generation come in, because they control their line from sourcing to production to delivery. And they have plenty, and I mean plenty of stock at every cut, every style, every color. And Kirby, I know you're a big fan of their fashion forward approach to corporate wear with their Untucked collection.
Yeah, I really do like it. And here's the other thing I would say, like right now we're recording this and you might be thinking, well, okay, they're in stock now, but the holidays right around the corner. There's no way you can get in time. Here's the thing, folks. This is not going away in the first quarter. You're going to need to be able to sell apparel to your clients in January and February as well. That Untucked collection, which is fashion forward, but is available, is just, that's incredibly valuable right now.
Absolutely. And since they control their entire manufacturing process from the spools of thread to the fabric itself, all the way to the production of the shirts and even the decoration, it's in stock, folks. It's in stock. And so we also know many of you are about to embark on your first trip since the COVID-19 pandemic and head over to Orlando for the ASI show, maybe the Vegas show, PPAI Expo, maybe both. But why not stop by and see the good folks over at Blue Generation to see, touch, and feel their dedication to quality fashion forward apparel that's just so cost effective. So if you're heading over to ASI Orlando, their booth number is 1829 for ASI Orlando, and their PPAI Expo booth number is 3243 for PPAI Expo. So you know what, please just go ahead and pause the podcast right now and write those numbers down. Just pause it. Great. Welcome back to the podcast. Remember, with all the supply chain issues, Blue Generation has plenty of inventory on hand. So head over to bluegeneration.com and wow your clients with some truly fashion forward apparel.
Wow.
There we go. Wow. All right, Kirby, before we begin, and I have the upfront portion of the podcast this week, I have to apologize to one of our friends out there in the industry. Okay. I pride myself when we talk on the podcast of giving credit where we get inspiration for articles. And last week we had a great conversation about stress causing burnout in the promotional products industry. I had it in my notes, and I neglected to mention that it was written by Sean Norris over at Promo Marketing. Shame on me. I when I realized I did that, I died 1,000 deaths, because I that's not right. That's not fair. So Sean, if you're still a listener, I'm terribly sorry, but
Yeah.
you really should. I will tell you, Kirby and I had a really nice conversation about that last week. The genesis of that conversation is over at Promo Marketing. So head over there, look up that article by Sean Norris. You're not going to be sorry you did. So I did want to apologize that. That's
Sure.
you and I talk about wearing the hat of responsibility. That's me wearing the hat. I screwed up. All right, Kirby, let's talk about something else that screwed up. Promo Connect. That's right, kids. So
Okay.
Promo Connect from PPAI, for most of you who clearly aren't familiar with it, was started a few years ago. Kirby, you may actually know this number because I think we talked about it offline a couple of weeks ago. It was launched a few years ago, and out of the, I think, 25,000 members of PPAI or so, only 350 active users. Is that the correct number? Something like
No,
that?
I've heard that number, but I don't know that. I will tell you, it doesn't feel like it was a highly used platform.
No, it was launched a few years ago, and as in both Kirby and I, and transparency, have volunteered at PPAI, and they used to have a thing called Volunteer Central, which was a horribly clunky, very painful communication vehicle for volunteers. And so one of the things Promo Connect was going to do was replace that, which it certainly did. But it was also to provide a vehicle for people to foster conversations in the promotional products industry, share ideas.
Yeah.
And I always kind of dumbed that down when I was explaining it, what it was to people, because I was on the rack board at the time. They're trying to essentially replace the promotional products professionals Facebook page or augment that and have high level conversations. Well, what it really did in my mind was it replaced a clunky thing, communication process with Volunteer Central, with an equally clunky solution for it never was great.
Right.
I think I have some opinions on that. I'd love to know from your perspective, what killed it, Kirby? What was it? Doomed from the beginning? What killed Promo Connect?
Yeah. So I want to start with, as we try to do, to be fair on the other side, as they were trying to do the right thing. And I think a lot of smart people worked on it. So here's what I think. I think that they were trying to replace something in a technology platform. So you were talking about the Facebook promotional products professionals group, right? That's a group within Facebook with this. And so the challenge I think that they had was they were working against a technology company who's really good at getting and keeping people's attention. So the Facebook promotional products professionals page, for all its challenges, it's where we are. So we get notifications where we're already living. And they were trying to compete with that technology giant who is, quite frankly, better at that sort of thing.
Sure.
And make you go offline. And while there are people that are, I'm not going to be on Facebook, those are the minority at this point.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's a bunch of people who say they're not on Facebook, but it is amazing how much they tell me what they know that I posted. Right. And so I feel like that's one of those things that you want to say, oh, I'll never go to Walmart, but you kind of do. And so I think that was kind of it. It was like a really well-intentioned thing, but you were trying to fight against the technology giant and you weren't as good at what they do. I mean, and I'll tell you, I actively tried to go and put content out there. That being said, I didn't really try to engage because it wasn't my job to try and do that, right? Like I had to do extra steps and work extra hard to do it. And I was like, it felt like a chore. And Facebook is where we are already. And so I think they were fighting totally uphill from the very beginning.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you're right. I mean, it was well-intentioned. And I have to give, I believe it was Tom Goes, who was the chairman at the time of the board, who championed this. And I have to give Tom and the board and leadership and the staff of PPAI kudos for trying something new. I'll never, the intention was good. But again, I think you hit on a point I was going to bring up. You have to go where the people are.
Yeah.
So, it's a much easier job to go where the people are and communicate to them than to say, hey, everybody over there, come over here, learn a new platform. It wasn't fluid like Facebook.
Right.
And so I think honestly, because we do tend to be in an industry where as a whole, pretty resistant to change. I think it was doomed from the inception.
Yeah.
Like you, I was on there a lot in the beginning. Being on the rack board, president of the rack board, and numerous other committees. That's where all the agendas were sent. That's where all the meeting minutes were sent. But other than that, I stopped going because there's nothing valuable for me on there. It just wasn't a place where my tribe, and I'm kind of tired of that word, but it's not my place where my tribe was living. And so I didn't want to join in the fight, I guess. And so maybe shame on me saying, okay, my tribe, come over here. I never saw the intrinsic value of it as elevating our industry, even though I know that was the goal. And I love that they tried it. And I hope they keep trying things like that.
Yeah. But I think, if the idea is that they're going to shut that down by the end of the year, which I believe is what the communication is, I think that's the right decision. There's no reason to keep throwing good resources after bad. To me, it almost makes more sense to be like, okay, what's a platform that everybody already is using, whether it's Facebook or whatever, and build it. Let the software developers be the software developers, and let us go where it can be done in that way. If that makes any sense.
No, that makes total sense. And again, you're right. It's not working. It hasn't been working for a while, to my knowledge. And you come to a point, do I double down, throw more money at this, or do I just say goodbye and cut my losses? And again, I think it's the right decision by leadership. It was the right decision of leadership at the time to give it a try. It's the right decision of leadership now to go ahead and pull the plug. Kirby, you have another topic for us?
Yeah, this will probably be a quick one, but it's something, you know how you'll
every time you say that, we go 20 minutes.
Well,
no.
Okay, we'll see. So it could be a quick one. It's my caveat to, hey, I'm not sure I really dug really deep on this. And so if it goes quick, that's my excuse.
There you go.
So every once in a while you're scrolling through social media. This one happened to be on LinkedIn, and something just stops you. Right. And so today literally this morning, I had that experience. Dave Gerhardt, who I don't know who that is at all. I think he owns a consulting company or something like that, posted something. And it was one of those from Twitter that he screenshotted Twitter and put it on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And it says, new metric for brand measurement. Can you sell merch? If people will buy merch, you have a brand.
Okay.
And I was like,
I'm writing this down.
That is interesting to me. So let me just say it again for folks. New metric for brand measurement. Can you sell merch? If people will buy your merch, you have a brand.
Okay.
And I will tell you, it stopped me obviously because of just that it's talking about what we do.
Yeah.
And I think the other reason it stopped me is I 100% agree. That is one of the ways that I measure where if people are really, truly a brand. If you are at the pinnacle of the marketing pyramid, if you are Harley Davidson, if you are, if you or you're beginning to build a brand, right? That's when you have a brand, is when you could sell merch. And so that's the pinnacle of success to me. What say you?
Completely disagree. Wrong. Okay, you're not that wrong. I agree with what you're saying. I mean, obviously the pinnacle is if people want to shell out their money to basically be an advertisement for you, that is the pinnacle.
Yes.
But I would not agree with the statement, if you can sell merch, you have a brand. If people willingly use your merch, you have a brand. So, because that to me is the efficacy of promotional products.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think, to me, if people are willing to adopt your brand, embrace your brand, then you have, embrace your merch, use your merch, then they have a brand. I don't think it has to be this cream of the crop. I mean, how many companies are there that do that? I mean, we could probably name 10 of them right now: Jack Daniels, Harley Davidson, Disney, Coca-Cola, Budweiser, and 5 others. And that's probably it. Okay, maybe 20, 30, whatever. Yeah. It goes lower than that. It has to go lower than that. When people are willing to use and embrace your merchandise, you have a brand.
So I like that. So I think that you're right. But I think I know. Go ahead. You want to put the time down? You have a brand.
Well, I please.
Yeah. So you have a brand. I like that. That makes sense. The idea that make this an aspirational statement.
Okay.
The idea that you're like, okay, when I get to a point where people are like, I'm going to pay you for it. That's I guess that's what I said. It's like the top of the pyramid of the marketing sort of mountain, is that's when you have a huge brand. But I like what you said there, that if people are willing to adorn themselves with your merchandise, then you have a brand.
Yeah.
But the top of the mountaintop is when people will pay you for it.
It's that embracing, right?
Yep. I like it.
But of course, we all like to be paid. And I've got several pieces of Brandovate merchandise if people would like it. No, I'm just kidding. Well, all right, Kirby. I have a rant alert, Kirby. I have a rant alert. Every freaking year, Pantone spares us all to death, and they've released their color of the year. Kirby, indulge me if you would.
I'm sitting back.
Yeah, I mean, to me, you talk about a company that's running out of ways to try to connect and be relevant. Okay, so according to Pantone, they have released their color of the year. It's called Very Perry. It's a periwinkle. It's a nice purple. It, quote, promises to bring a newness to the year ahead. Okay. And a couple other statements about the new color, Very Perry. And these are quotes from Pantone. A dreamy, calm balm for the whirlwind of confusion the past 2 years have been. Also, it displays a sprightly, joyous attitude and dynamic presence that encourages courageous creativity and imaginative expression. Okay, so this got me thinking. I'm going to go down. I went down the last 4 years of Pantone because I go, man, this looks familiar to me. And I couldn't remember what last year's Pantone was. So I go, I'm going to go back 4 or 5 years and see what they were. So can we count backwards, Kirby? Thank you.
Sure.
I want to see how they held up. In 2021, they had 2 of them, if you recall, last year. They had Illuminating Yellow and Ultimate Gray. And their prediction for that was it was a practical and rock solid at the same time, warming and optimistic. Okay, I'm going to give them that. I actually think that hit. Okay.
Oh, all right.
Number 2020 got super creative with this one. Classic Blue. It instills calm, confidence, and connection. Were you calm, confident, and connected in 2020? No. Wrong, Pantone. Wrong. In 2019, they had Living Coral, and they said it embraces us with warmth and nourishment to provide comfort and buoyancy in our continually shifting environment. Oh, please. Who writes these things? Harlequin romance novel authors? Come on. And then here's the one that really got me, Kirby. 2018, you know what their color was? Do you remember what the color is this year? I told you already. Do you remember what the color is?
This year, it's Very Perry.
Right. In 2018, that's 4 years ago. It was ultraviolet, which is really close to Very Perry. And their quote at the time was, it communicates originality, ingenuity, and visionary thinking that points us toward the future. Well, it's apparently not that original if you're repeating the color 4 years later. So here's my thing, Kirby. I think Pantone is a business model. It's 2 things. New colors, lots of buzz. That's one. And it's a lucrative business creating new colors just so they can charge graphic designers about $290 for a new Pantone color chart. What am I missing, Kirby? I don't get it. People just go nutso over this every year, and I don't get it. This is just as bad as the McRib. Explain it to me. Why do people care?
Okay, so as is the case with me, I'm going to take the opposite view of this just because I like to push your buttons.
Because you really agree with me. That's why.
So one of the things that I think we've said is that everybody's a media company today, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so Brandovate's a media company. It's one of the reasons you have a podcast here, right? So the reason I believe you're full of shit is that every single year you talk about it.
I know.
Every single year you talk about it on a media company's podcast. So Pantone's pretty damn smart, and I'm ready for them to send me some Very Perry apparel so that I can be calm.
Well,
and honestly, I think they should definitely send you some Very Perry polo shirts so that you could calm the hell down about this.
Okay, Pantone 1, Petri 0. I get your point there, Hasseman. I understand your point. I think it's silly that a company just declares this is the color of the year. I mean,
but they've managed to make that their franchise. That's the genius.
And that's actually what I'm about to say. No. Don't apologize. You're 100% right. There's a genius in that. the fact that there is a group of people that actually truly like they're waiting with bated breath every year.
Yeah, post it.
And then companies, well, then what really kills me is companies almost immediately, especially a lot of fashion companies, apparel companies, shoe companies, they create merch that is in the Pantone color of the year. It happened like overnight. So I have to give them credit. I still don't like, just from it drives me nuts that someone just decides that this is the color of the year, like who put them in charge. It's kind of like when I get to Vegas and I see all the ads in the airport while I'm waiting 2.5 hours for my bag, and it says best burger in Vegas. Like, okay, I want to know who the governing body is here. Okay, what I want to know. So it's the same thing. But anyway, I have to complain about it every year. Mission accomplished. But quietly, it is damn genius that I figured that out.
Yeah. It's the one piece of poetry you'll hear today. You know, you don't get it, but you got to give them credit, right? So there you go.
That's not a haiku, but it'll do.
Yeah. All right. Another quick one.
All right, let's go.
Okay. All right. So unpopular opinions. I like saying unpopular opinions because it draws people off sides. Also, these are statements that I believe. So was watching a football game recently, and I didn't watch very much of it, to be honest with you. It was in snowy conditions, like you couldn't see. And I think that the purists of football will say, oh my gosh, they're playing in snow. That's like the way football should be played. Unpopular opinion. I think that's stupid. I hate watching sports in crappy conditions, right? Like I want to see the best athletes in the world perform on conditions where they can perform like the best athletes in the world. I do not like seeing, I also don't like watching golf tournaments where pros who are amazing are shooting 7 over par. That's stupid. You've made the course too hard, and I don't like it. So my unpopular opinion is, give me football on wonderful conditions, why the Super Bowl should be in Florida or Arizona every year. And I want golf where golfers are making birdies, not bogeys. What do you think?
So you want football, every game to be in a dome, in a controlled environment?
It can be outside as long as it's nice.
Okay. So I'm going to push back. I do agree with the statement of you want to see athletes at their best. I always say things like, my favorite team, I don't want one of the star players on the other team to get hurt. I want to beat them at their best. So
agreed.
On that level, I relate. Here's where I disagree, and I'm not being flippant. I could go the whole smart-assy flippant route, but I think I've already covered that in Pantone. Here's where I'll push back. I think what I love about those type of games, whether it's a snow game or a rain game or the U.S. Open in golf, where the rough is very thick and the greens are very fast, so it does tend to penalize poor play. It shows those people who are at the pinnacle of their profession, their level of adaptability. And life is not always a perfect playground, right? And so, I would go the other way on golf. I get bored of golf when everybody's shooting over the course of a weekend 28 under, 35 under, whatever. That's boring. I like to see the struggle because they do hit errant shots, and you should be penalized for that. There are people in the NFL who, when it rains, the ball gets a little slippery and they tend to fumble. Not just because the ball's slippery, it just adds an extra element that they don't protect the ball as well as they need to. And so I think, to me, it's more of a measure of adaptability in overcoming those obstacles, because life is not always 72 degrees with the wind coming from 4 different directions because it's in a dome. Life is icky. Life is bumpy. Life is snowy. Life is hitting the ball in the rough and still trying to make par.
I love your metaphor, and I still hate it. So because I view sports as purely my entertainment. And so when I'm being entertained, I don't want, it's like, oh my God, make an extra.
You just want your candy. You just want
want my candy.
Give me my candy. Right. Give me my candy. I get that. But I will say, in December, there's something about snuggled up with a blanket, watching everybody else suffer in a giant bowl as the snow's falling. I love that. I will say this a little bit in your defense. Sometimes, especially only in golf, where they can control the course a little bit, they go overboard. And it becomes so, like, sometimes the greens are so fast.
Stupid. Yeah.
It's unwatchable. So when it's manufactured and it goes overboard, I agree with you. I don't like it. But when it's, hey, today it's just cold and snowy, too bad. Deal with it. All right, Kirby. I like our podcast today. I like it a lot. You know how I'd like to cap it off, Kirby?
How would you like to finish?
A little bit of a party in the back, if you please.
Okay. All right. So
let's go.
This might be good.
Kirby's super excited about this. Super excited about this.
Yeah. Okay. So, how long have you been in business with Brandovate now? 2 years?
Almost. It'll be 2 years this July.
All right. Awesome. So, year and a half ish. So, I think it's time for Brandovate to have a mascot. So
a mascot. So I get to choose the mascot?
Yep. And so we've got like 7 or 8 of them to go back and forth to, and it's an either or. And we're going to kind of move through it and see which ones resonate with you as a mascot for your business and which ones
as potential mascots.
Yeah, potentially. Right. Yeah.
Great. Let's go. Let's mascot it up.
All right. So would you rather Brandovate have a lion or a grizzly bear?
Ooh, I'm gonna go lion. Yeah, I'd go lion. Grizzly bear just a little threatening and they eat a lot of garbage, so I'm gonna go with lion.
Okay. Well, I mean, lions are regal. That's where I went to.
Very regal.
A horse or a dog?
A dog for days. Easy. Dogs are the best. You know, even when I'm having a crappy day but I walk out there and my dog's wagging her tail, it puts a smile on my face. Whereas, you know, I don't remember what else you mentioned. It was a parakeet, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's a horse, parakeet, same thing.
Yeah.
I don't like birds. I don't like birds.
Okay. Well, this is going to be interesting later. Okay. So what kind of dog do you have?
I have a red tick coonhound.
Okay, just saying it out loud in case somebody in the industry wants to make a custom mascot for him. Okay, a cat or a ferret?
Oh my gosh, neither. I don't. Cats. I know a lot of people love cats. You created this game just to have me say stuff that's going to get me in trouble. Cats creep me out because every cat I've ever been around just looks at me like, "Hey man, if I was big as my cousin the lion, I'd just assume eat you right now." Yeah. And I don't like they're evil. They kind of play with their food before they eat it. It's very, play with their prey before they kill it and eat it. I don't like that. But a ferret? Oh my gosh, that's a rodent. I guess I have to go cat. If I'm having to pick, I'll go cat.
Okay. Eagle or a falcon?
I'm going to go eagle.
They're birds, but they're pretty.
They are birds, but it's not a parakeet. I mean, a parakeet's, that's different. Lunch. Yeah. An eagle, very regal. I love, there's nothing more majestic than, and I love bald eagles, just a bald eagle against a really bright blue sky, maybe a Brandovate blue sky, as it were.
Yeah, I like it. A cheetah or a dolphin?
Ooh. I'm gonna go dolphin. Could go cheetah for speed and efficiency, but I'm gonna go with dolphin for resourcefulness and intelligence. I'd like to think the way we view and look at branding and marketing is intelligent. I hope so. Hope our clients certainly find it that way.
I love it. Okay, 2 more. A mongoose or a platypus?
I am a big fan of the duck-billed platypus. I mean, I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to have to go mongoose just because I like saying mongoose. And I always wanted, though, they had the BMX bikes when we were growing up. And mongoose is the one I always wanted. And I never got it. I got like some low-rent spare Huffy knockoff with a banana seat.
Yep. By the way, mongoose and platypus were only on the list because I think both of them are fun to say.
They are.
Final one. A unicorn or a Pegasus?
Ooh, I'm going to say a Pegasus. I'm going to say a Pegasus. The horse with the wings, it can fly, it can run, can do anything except apparently swim.
Yeah.
So no, I think it can do just about anything, probably except solve supply chain problems. But hey, Kirby, do you know who has solved the supply chain problem in our industry?
Who's that, Bill?
Oh, thank you so much for knowing to ask. Yes, that's our good pals over at Blue Generation. They do control their entire manufacturing process, from the actual fabric to the thread to production to even decoration. And because they control all that, and they have for 3 generations, they have inventory. That's right, kids. The most popular promotional product is not the widget you're playing with right now. It is whatever's in stock. And I can tell you right now, the good folks have plenty. Good folks over at Blue Generation have plenty of deep inventory on their fashion forward, untucked collection. Every cut, every style, every color, ready for you. They're going to be over at ASI Orlando in booth 1829, PPAI Expo in Las Vegas, fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. 3243 is the booth number if you're on the Western time zone for that show. So, boy, I just went all over the place on that. I don't even know what that means. But hey, they're going to be there, booth number 3243 in Las Vegas. So head over there if you're in one of those shows. But if you're not, go ahead and head over to bluegeneration.com right now. See that untucked collection. And they have many other styles, every cut, every style, every color, every size, everything you need right there. Blue Generation in stock, ready to go. Worry about the supply chain no more. It's been solved.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Bye.
That's right.